G'day there guys, it's your boy I Read Reddit, back at it again with some more Entitled Parents stories. Today, we have some extra spicy stories with a side of shrimp on the barbie. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, fellas and Sheilas. I hope you love them all. So back in the late 90s, when Sears wasn't sad and dying, my mother was an assistant manager. Her boss was also pregnant, and this generally wasn't an issue, until it was. Now my parents spent a long time choosing baby names when I turned out to be a girl. They really wanted my name to be gender neutral to prevent future trouble finding jobs. Yes, that is the actual reason. But my middle name remained the same as when they thought I was a boy, Ryan. When they decided on my full name, my mother told her friends about it, and one of them ended up telling the manager. As my mother was on lunch break, this lady storms in, already red and furious. "I heard you were naming your baby Ryan!" My mother is, of course, stunned. She stays silent for a few moments before finally answering. "That's her middle name, yes?" "Your baby is a girl!" the woman exclaims, as though this is some sort of great revelation. My mother nods. Getting somehow redder, the woman snaps, "Ryan is a boy's name!" Actually, it's gender neutral. At this point, my mother's surprise is wearing off into a bit of righteous confusion. "Is there any problem with the name?" "You can't name your baby that!" The woman is practically shouting at this point. "I'm naming my son that!" My mother stares at her, trying to work out what kind of mental gymnastics it takes to decide your choice of baby name should give you the authority to veto someone else's baby name. So? "Change your baby's middle name or I'm going to fire you." That is what the woman said. Having drawn a whole crowd with this whole scene to witness the utter insanity that was her outburst. People who could act as witnesses for my mother if she attempted such a thing. "I don't think you can do that," my mother answers flatly. She couldn't even fire my mother on some other infraction because there was no other infraction. The staff was friendly with my mother and she had brought up sales in her area by a lot. The woman stops for a moment, maybe realizing that my mother was right on that point, and once again demands, "Change your baby's middle name. I chose Ryan first." Ah yes, calling dibs. Surely my mother would have to respect a grown woman calling dibs on a very common name. "Ryan is my maiden name," my mother answers flatly once again. At this moment, the woman stops, still furious, sputters for a moment, and finally stomps off. My middle name is Ryan, and my mother's boss named her son Dylan instead. Do not listen to this if you have a weak stomach. Consider yourself warned, boys. Okay, among my many vices, gaming, etc., one that I've had for many years is my addiction to nicotine. Now, I'm not a smoker. Honestly, I hate the smell of all forms of smoke. I use smokeless tobacco, better known as snuff, chew, or dip, depending on where you are in the nation. When you use this stuff, you spit, sometimes quite a lot. Because of this, I've had this habit of keeping old soda bottles handy. That way, I can spit in the bottle and seal it. No worry about accidentally spilling it and making a mess. This also has the effect sometimes, making it easy to hide what I'm doing. I never expected that it'd cause trouble though. Trouble and humor. So, a couple of years back, I was taking a cross-country trip by bus. About halfway to my destination, at a layover in Denver, I had the following encounter. Dramatic personas are EK, TM, and me. TM for tired mum. Me, taking a seat outside of the bus station at a nearby store. As I sit down, I put my half-full spit bottle beside me and start checking my phone. The entitled kid points at the bottle and says, "Gibbs me that." Say, "What? Huh?" "Oh, no, you don't want that." "I want it. Give it to me." Yes, the kid actually said gib. "No, now shove off, kid." About this time, the kid ran over to his mother and said something. The lady came over my way and seemed nice, if very tired. Long bus rides will do that. "Yeah, my boy says you won't give him the rest of your soda." "Oh, it is not so. I know full well it is. Why don't you just, give it to him?" "But, just give it to him." At this point, I just shrug, gesturing at the bottle. The liquid in it was as dark as cola, though it sure as heck wouldn't be as tasty. The tired mum smiled and thanked me, taking the bottle and walking back over to her hellspawn. I decided to hang around and watch everything. The kid turns to me, flips me the bird, then makes a show of opening the bottle and taking a big gulp out of it. You could see his brain suddenly short-circuit. Gag reflex kicked in, along with this sudden need to swallow. I could tell that his mind was fighting with itself. Eyes the size of saucers, the gag reflex won and he blew the liquid out all over the front of his shirt, then his pants. Then he started to dry heave. Turned several interesting shades of color too. All the while the mum was watching him, patting his back. Eventually she carried him off into the direction of the restroom to be cleaned up. That kid looked like he'd never trusted Coke ever again. I ended up speaking to the lady later, while we were all on the bus. Apparently the grandmom had seriously spoiled the kid, giving him anything and everything he wanted. Mum, for her part, was trying to teach him that the world didn't work that way. I think a little stunt with my spit bottle made a point. No real damage done, but it was still annoying. So, a cousin of mine recently got into Studio Ghibli films. He wanted to borrow Spirited Away, and I was okay with that. His folks go to a church in my area, so they agreed to swing by and grab the disc after service. They come in, and I go to get the disc. My cousin starts asking about some of the other Ghibli films, and anime mixed into the DVD collection. Then he points to Soul Eater. It's a great show, but he just turned 13, and it wasn't exactly age appropriate. Plus, I didn't think his parents, mainly his mother, would approve. They are very religious, and the show revolves around soul harvesting, the Grim Reaper, witches, and some fan service. I'm still not sure why Ghibli was okay with them, because of the spirits, witches, and demons, but I was pretty sure a show called Soul Eater would tip that Jenga tower. So when he asked me if I could borrow it, I said, no. That no seemed to catch my aunt's attention, and she was by my cousin's side in a flash. She asks why he can't borrow it, and I told her it may not be age appropriate. Then she says something along the lines of, it's a cartoon. It's meant for children. You're a grown woman. You shouldn't have this anyway. I was a little irritated but stood firm. Instead, I let the kid borrow My Neighbor Totoro, as well as Spirited Away, and they went home. I thought everything was good until an hour ago. I received a call from my screaming aunt. She accused me of trying to corrupt her son with vulgarity and Satanism. I was lost at first, and then she mentioned a demon and a naked cat woman being in the first episode. I checked my shelf and Soul Eater was missing. I'm not sure when she did it, but she had stolen the box set. They're returning the movies next Sunday, and Soul Eater had better be with them. I'm hoping she doesn't confiscate it like she did with other ungodly stuff. That set was around $50 after shipping and handling. It was like the first anime box set I ever bought, and I will go to war for it. On mobile, so if things go wonky, my attorney is accepting calls. After never dealing with an entitled parent in my life, I now had 2 in the span of a few months. Normally a foul mouth, but I'll keep this clean for rSlash and others, including me of course. So, I am a delivery driver for a major food delivery company in major college town in Texas where everyone loves maroon. Normally it's not bad, pays pretty well, and the customers are generally fine, though you'll always have idiots in every service job. This, however, surpassed anything I'd ever experienced before. I get an order alert on my phone. Relatively simple, but expensive order. We drivers love expensive orders, from a restaurant nearby. In the portion for delivery instructions, the customer explains that I need to call her once I arrive, as ringing the doorbell, as I normally do, would disturb her autistic son. Okay, no problem at all. I received therapy for sensory issues when I was a kid, so I'm going to be even more sympathetic to that than the average person. I receive the order and drive over to the house, which is in the nice part of town, and give the customer a call. Younger woman answers, tells me to come up to the door. I do so, and enter the entitled mother, who strangely was fairly attractive and did not have the typical Karen haircut. Enraged Marmalade, the Muffin Man, and Nice Support Lady are our cast and crew. So I say, here's your order, ma'am. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Yes, my son is autistic, and people like you don't understand how difficult it is to raise him. I shouldn't have to pay for this much for food. Can you give me a discount? I'm baffled by this and I say, I'm sorry, ma'am, but the app calculates your order total, not me. It's already been paid for. The entitled mother did not like that answer. Her face changed from a smug smirk into a snarl. I suppose I didn't realize how ridiculous the idea that people pay for their own food is.
Well, why don't you pay for it then? I'm not sure if you heard, but my son is autistic. And it's your fault that he's still hungry.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but that goes against our policy. If I paid for your order, I'd probably be fired.
Good. You're a useless driver anyway. You're disgusting. My son is starving to death. Since I've had to go through so much trouble with you, you should tip me.
My app has a setting that while you're in the process of taking an order to a customer, they'll assign you another one at the same time if there's activity. Thankfully, this saved me here. Can't do that, ma'am. Here's your order. I dropped the food gently on the ground between us and jogged back to my car. She was shouting something unintelligible, so much for not disturbing her autistic son, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. Unsurprisingly, she gave me a 1-star review. You tip online, so I got a small tip. Contacted customer support about it the next day. Yeah, I had a crazy lady yesterday. Started demanding that I pay for her order, and even that I tip her. Really rude. Not sure what the deal was, and oh, I knew what the deal was, that's why I'm here. Which order was it? It was order number at address. Oh yikes, you're the third person to complain about her. 1 or 2 we take with a grain of salt, love, but 3, you're probably out. I'll try to get her deactivated. If so, her review will be off your record.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it.
I feel like the entire world is better off now that she won't get deliveries from us anymore. But what was the cost worth it? That remains to be seen. So, my air conditioner is broken at my house, and I cannot afford to fix it at this very moment. So I've been staying gone as much as I can because it's hot. I told my son if he was good while we were running errands, I'd buy him something from Macca's, and let him play and get him an ice cream. Now, I don't have a lot of money. I'm actually pretty broke right now. I had enough to put some gas in my truck and do what I promised I'd do for my kid. Literally. That's all the money I have. I'm really broke. I got our food first and saved his ice cream for last. He ate, then played for a bit and came down and asked if he could get his ice cream now. The little boy he was playing with went over and asked his mum to get him some ice cream. She suddenly looked at me with wide eyes like, "Well?" And I got up to go get it, and I heard her say, "I'm not paying for ice cream today. If you want some, go ask that lady." And the kid ran and stopped me and asked me if I could get him some too. And I said, "Sorry, baby. I would if I could, but I only have enough for that one." And I promised my little boy. And he looked really sad, and I felt really bad. So I was going to ask for another cup and split it with him and my son anyway, but I didn't think about it until he ran off. I heard his mum scoff and say, "Ha, that's sad." And I said, "Excuse me?" And then she said, "How do you lie to a child, then tell them you can't afford the ice cream when it's less than $2? Ah!" I said, "Well, I literally only have $2 left to my name. I really don't have enough. If I did, I would have honestly got the child some. But don't you feel like that's your place and not mine?" She was like, "Well, I didn't bring up ice cream. You did." I said, "Actually, my son did." Are you being serious right now?
I'm dead serious. You brought it up, so you should have to buy it for him. I'm not gonna listen to him whine all day because he didn't get ice cream, and your son did. You're a piece of crap if you do that. A real piece of crap, she barked back.
I replied, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, lady. No need for that crap. I'm not gonna show out at McDonald's because I'm not ignorant. Unlike some people, but this is insane." I actually was going to get and split it between the 2 kids, so my son didn't just eat it in front of him. Because I'm really not like that. I just really don't have a lot of money right now, and at the moment this is my last $2 for right now. And she laughed sarcastically and said, "Ha, no, my son isn't splitting a $2 ice cream. That's sad. Come on, kitty, we'll go get you a McFlurry so you can eat it in front of her little brat, because that's better than just plain old ice cream." I just rolled my eyes and carried on with myself. I couldn't believe someone so crazy in real life. I am shook. So this is my first post in this subreddit. I have been lurking through this place, but never posting. So here's a story that happened about 3 days ago. Also, please excuse my writing and formatting. I'm on mobile and my English isn't too good. So this is fairly important information. My dog has been trained to bark on command. She isn't an aggressive dog. In fact, she's really friendly, and she doesn't bite unless she's playing. She does drool, which does look like she's foaming at her mouth. I'm sure you know the abbreviation, But here it is just in case, our cast and crew. Me, yours truly, EM, Entitled Monster. Superior Australian spelling, sorry Americans. EK, Entitled Kid, about 7 or 8 years old. And Dog, my papa, Royal. That's his name, he's royalty. Alrighty, so it was a weekend and I had some free time. I'm a student, and so these don't come by often. I have a fairly large dog. She's about 1 year and a month old. Still has a puppy face. She's a Mastiff cross, we think hound, due to her body shape. And she has a strong brindle pattern on her fur. I like to make these jokes saying that she looks like a little hyena or tiger. So anyways, I was taking the dog out for a walk to a nearby park. It's usually empty at this time. Sometimes there are kids there since it's used for soccer and football tournaments for those kiddie clubs. Enter Entitled Kid getting out of their car and dashing onto the grass with a soccer ball. Now the field is pretty large and this kid was on the other side where I was. My dog loves kids and was pulling the leash towards the kid. I firmly held the leash and pulled her away. The entitled kid runs up to me without asking, rude by the way, and starts petting my dog. Usually I wouldn't mind, but this kid was smacking my dog's head pretty hard, and he was roughly stroking her. I pulled my dog away from the kid and asked him to try and treat her nicely. And oh boy, was that the wrong thing of me to say apparently. The entitled kid gave me this snobby look and just said, "You can't tell me what to do, you're not my mum." Well, if you can't treat my dog any nicer, then please don't touch her. Why can't I touch him? I want to. The kid in fact shouted that fairly loudly, which caught the attention of his mother, who was close by, just having a smoke. She walks up to us and this is how the conversation goes. "What's going on here?" "Oh, she's not letting me pet the doggy." She turns to me and in this demanding tone says, "Why not?" "Ma'am, your kid was basically hitting my dog's head," and she cut me off on this one. "My son wouldn't harm a dog? You're just over-exaggerating." Boy, I wish I was exaggerating. The entitled kid then proceeds to hit my dog on the head, harder this time than last time. "I like him, can I have him please?" The entitled mother smiles to her hellspawn and says, "Sure, sweets." She turns to me and gives me this fake smile. "How much for the dog? $25 do ya?" I was shocked. Why would you buy someone's dog? No! Are you crazy? My dog isn't for sale. And stop hitting my dog. I was getting pretty annoyed. I pulled my dog away and started to walk away from this conversation. They followed me, trying to block my path. The entitled kid trying to take the leash from my hand. "Please not, this is a chain leash and I'm tugging it. And it was tightening the metal chains that was wrapped around my hand. Excuse me, but leave me alone please. My son just wants to pet your exotic animal a bit more." I'm pulling my dog away from the entitled kid, who is constantly trying to pull the leash from my hands, even trying to pull at the dog's collar. I was honestly quite scared. This woman is easily taller than me, and her son would not stop pulling at the chain. "Can you stop? Just leave me the heck alone." "Young lady, you should not raise your voice at the elderly. For your punishment, you will give me your wild dog." I push past her and try to keep walking. The kid will not let go. I am essentially pulling along my dog and this kid. I'm a nervous person when it comes to the police. I didn't want to call the police or anything. "Just please, leave me alone, I just want to go home." I'm pretty sure my dog is done with this kid because she's trying to escape the kid. She's started drooling due to the heat of the sun and the kid pulling her leash. "Not until you give me the wild dog." "Mommy, when can I get the dog?" "Soon, baby." I lean down to my dog so the entitled annoyances aren't hearing me. Holding a treat to her face, I say, "Royal, say woof." Yes, this is what we say for her to start barking. My dog starts barking, and she has a pretty strong and loud bark. Her drool is just splashing out since she jerks her head outwards when she barks. The entitled kid, not liking my dog barking, proceeds to hide behind his mum. "Stop that wild dog from barking right now!" she demands of me. "How dare you bring a rabid animal into a public area? You should be ashamed of yourself." I was done. I just ran from this crazy lady. She did try to grab my arm, but I just shook her grip off. Should have done that earlier. She didn't chase me, thankfully. And yeah, that's how it went. I know it sounds like something out of a soap opera, and I'm still surprised about it. Hopefully I don't run into her again. I'm sorry that there isn't any police or anything in this story, or that the woman isn't just slapping me. But yeah, this is the first time running into an entitled parent, hopefully my last. Alright guys, I wasn't planning this one to be so long, but it managed to get to that full 20-minute mark. Hope you liked it. I love Australian stories, by the way, so tell me what you thought of that one in the comments, and subscribe if you liked it. I'll see you next time. Bye.